How is he not this mad about overvaluations in the real world? Because they are not victimless crimes.
Hey y'all, thanks for stopping in. So I gotta tell you, this is probably the funniest thing Jon Stewart has done in the last couple years. And what cracks me up the most is I kind of think that this all began with Tim Pool yesterday when he used Jon Stewart in a hypothetical situation on the fly in one of his videos when he was basically just referring to Jon Stewart's reaction to Trump and the case there in New York where he is accused of inflating his property values and defrauding the bank or whatever, which the bank said it was a great transaction. Everybody was paid back in time, on time, in full. There was no crime involved at all. It's a victimless accusation that they turned into a crime because now Trump supposedly, well, he does owe $175 million in bond that was originally ordered at $450 million and still could be. That's pending the decision by the appeals court over there. But check this one out from the New York Post. Jon Stewart benefited 829% over value, in his New York City home, even as he labels Trump's civil case not victimless. Just like I said, the funniest thing Jon Stewart has done all year. You can probably include last year and the year before that as well, but comedian Jon Stewart ranted this week that Donald Trump's civil real estate case over valuing his properties was not victimless. Yet when it came to his own home, Stewart benefited from a similar inflation. On Monday night, Stewart, 61, unpacked Trump's $454 million appeal bond, calling out experts framing the former president's New York civil case as not causing direct harm to any individual. The Daily Show host rolled a clip of CNN's Laura Coates interviewing Shark Tank star Kevin O'Leary, who commented that the ruling didn't go over well with the real estate industry that was now fretting over the possibility of becoming the next target. And that is a real, legitimate threat to anybody that wants to do real estate transactions in the state of New York. That's the bet they've made. But Coates responded to O'Leary by highlighting that Trump was found liable for falsifying business records in the second degree, issuing false financial statements, insurance fraud, and conspiracy, all due to asset inflation. Well, I'd like to see the proof, right? I mean, this is just all a bunch of bullcrap that they say. We all know, well, anybody that's been involved with any kind of real estate transaction or have ever got a loan, you know that you can't just buy a house or go get a loan without an appraiser being sent out by the bank, right? A bank representative comes out and determines the value of the property being assessed, So to act like Trump submitted false financial statements and all this other stuff is nonsense. But back to the story, we have a quote here. Everything that you just listed off is done by every real estate developer everywhere on earth in every city. This has never been prosecuted, O'Leary replied. In response, Stewart asked, how is he not this mad about over-evaluations in the real world? Because they are not victimless crimes, he said. To further his point, Stewart argued that money isn't infinite. A loan that goes to a liar doesn't go to someone who's given a more honest evaluation, so the system becomes incentivized for corruption. I guess in theory, but the reality is there's checks and balances in place by the banks that are involved. I mean, that's who the who this Judge Engoron, whatever his name is representing, right? He's on the side of the banks. He's obviously not on the side of Trump, and the banks are saying that they weren't even wronged. So it's an overstep. Not to mention, he's a New York judge, Mar-a-Lago's in Florida. This is all just such an overreach nonsense. Stewart also contended that failing to declare a higher market value on a property while paying taxes based on a lower assessed value constitutes fraudulent behavior. So the Attorney General of New York knew that Trump's property values were inflated because when it came time to pay taxes, Trump undervalued the very same properties. Stewart added it was all part of a very specific real estate practice known as lying. Okay, so Trump was actually on his taxes claiming it was worth less, but the thing about it, that's what you do. You present your case to the bank, you say, I need $1 million, my property is valued at $2 million. They'll send out an appraiser. He will appraise or she will appraise the property, and they'll say, oh no, it's only worth $1 million, and we're only willing to give you X amount of dollars. It's a negotiation. In 2014, Stewart sold a 6,280 square foot Tribeca duplex. A 6,200 square foot duplex? Man, whatever. For $17.5 million. The property asking price at the time is not available in listing records. According to the 2013-2014 assessor records obtained by the Post, the property had an estimated market value at only $1.882 million. The actual assessor valuation was even lower at $847,000. Records show that Stewart paid significantly lower property taxes, which were calculated based on the assessor valuation price, precisely what he called Trump out for doing in his Monday monologue. The person who purchased the penthouse from Stewart then resold the property at a nearly 26% loss, according to The Real Deal, at just over $13 million in 2021. So it looks like Jon Stewart's transaction had a victim. So there's not even apples to apples. Tim Pool, a political commentator known for the right-leaning views, he's right-leaning, I guess, now, but that's because Democrats have gone so crazy, alleged on X that Stewart was being a hypocrite. Did @Jon Stewart commit fraud when he sold his penthouse at $17.5 million? And this is great because Tim Pool was just speculating about this, and then he started digging in a little bit, and come to find out, look what we have. Did Jon Stewart commit fraud when he sold his penthouse for $17.5 million? New York listed its market value at $1.8 million and AV at around $800K. Who did he defraud? I am shocked, he wrote. This is right in Letitia James' jurisdiction. I look forward to the grand jury indictment, a user quipped in response to the tweet. Stewart's rep did not respond to the Post's request for comment. But meanwhile, the New York assessor valuation on Stewart's former penthouse is the same citation method and metric to value Trump's private and personal properties and then sued him for inflating those assets. Market value was never considered throughout the case. This includes Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in Palm Beach, known as his main residence, which was assessed at only $18 million at the time by just one dude. Real estate brokers had valued the property at 50 times more than that amount. Same for his private 200-acre New York family estate in Westchester, which was assessed between $30 million and $56 million. Trump had valued the property known as Seven Springs at $261 million. The difference between Stewart and Trump's case is that Trump also sometimes lied to lenders about how big his properties were, including the square footage of his Trump Tower apartment. So that's bullcrap. They have appraisers that go out there and they look at the drawing, they put their own eyes on the property. It's nonsense. But last month, Manhattan Supreme Court Justice Arthur Engoron ordered Trump to pay $355 million and temporarily ban him from doing businesses in the state. I think it was actually $455 million. I'm not sure where the 355. I know it's $455 million. Relying heavily on the assets valuations of the properties to determine the ruling. So the $454 million bond to appeal the ruling marks the highest bond ever recorded in the United States history against a single individual. And it just so happens that this single individual is a former president of the United States. All this money going to prosecute Trump is all taxpayer dollars. Some of it's federal, some of it's state. And I think it's just completely disgraceful, and it's out of line for political people who oppose Trump. They're in the opposing party. They outwardly and openly voice their disdain for Trump. Somehow, they're able to use taxpayer dollars to go after their opponent that they don't like. Something that I know if Trump even hinted at, he would have been impeached for. But we all know Democrats and the elites get a different set of rules than people who oppose them, right? So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.